game has become so global, to find a guy at some of these places to be massive for your franchise. You have to go wherever the talent is. Talent can come from anywhere, and you always want to be at the forefront of that. We have just landed in Munich, and we are making the hour-and-a-half drive over to Ulm, trying to prepare a little bit for the game in terms of who we're going to talk to.
How often do you two get to do this together?
Actually, we had the chance to spend a lot of time together on both continents, well, in multiple continents. So you would like to do it more, actually. Then you can't. So we always try to enjoy those couple of days, talking about basketball, talking about players, talking about situation.
Coming over here, it's one thing to see the players, in their environment, but it's another thing for us in terms of the relationship building, not only for connections with the teams, but also connections within our staff. Simone is definitely very charismatic, and we always have, a lot of jokes that we run between each other, and that's what makes him unique and special. He's easy to connect with.
My story is kind of interesting because I'm not coming from a basketball family. Of course, as a true Italian, my family was coming from football, soccer. When I was 22, I started to coach and I had my first touch with real basketball at European level. After 5 years, I had the chance to move to Olimpia Milano, which was closer to my house and where I grew up. When I was coaching, I was always very curious and focused on player development. I like to focus on the players. And I started to have my own database, and my database kept growing, and then I started to focus on that part. And then I got lucky. The general manager of the team used to be an NBA scout, so he introduced me into this world and slowly switched into the scouting way more than the coaching. And I had the chance to join the Brooklyn Nets. Tough decision back then, but it was probably the best decision I made, and here we are.
The way he sees the game, the way he understands the game has been a huge part of it, but also the relationships that he has here allows me to slide in, and so his networking piece is a huge value add for our organization. The game continues to grow as more players continue to have success overseas. So it's exciting, for us at that, and it really kind of puts the onus on us to continue to study, how this translates. Are there new trends that are happening in an international game that we might be able to learn from, first of all, but also certain characteristic traits that are translating well or not translating well when we're watching those guys play.
I think understanding the difference of the leagues is one of the most important things, because it's like comparing conferences in NCAA. Every league has a different style. The Spanish league is more physical, play bigger. German league, they're basically playing very, very small. The French league is more athletic. So every league has their own personality. So I think understanding the difference between the style of play in Europe and the States and college and NBA is one of the hardest things to do, to put everything in perspective.
The games are different, the strategies are different, and the pace of play is different. But there are certain things that, regardless, you need a player to have, size for position, the versatility of skill set, the toughness, the competitiveness, the grit, those kind of things. All that kind of sets the baseline, and then from there you can kind of pick out the fine details. And then also, how can they, overcome the language barrier, the cultural barriers, and the things that they have to do when they come over to the United States, and are they mentally equipped to do that? We factor all those kind of things into play to kind of level out the playing field. What we think the guy can do and translate later on.
The American basketball recognizes that there's talent everywhere, and it's not a closed market, but it's a global market. We have players in every continent, and that's the hard part, is putting everything in the same bucket and decide who's better, comparing the different environments and situations.
I think that's what makes basketball great. It's such a global sport. 25% of the NBA right now is international, and I expect that number to grow. And the 2006 born international class is one of the best that we've seen in a long time. And so you got to be very focused on what happens in college basketball with the American players, but like you also have to have your eye on Europe all the time, on Australia, on South America, on Asia, on Africa. And so it's going to get bigger and bigger every year.
When you wake up and you love what you do, you cannot complain, you cannot talk too much about sacrifice. I have the feeling that people don't understand exactly what's behind the 2 hours that we go to the game, which of course the best part, but there's a life of phone calls and typing reports, which is actually the longest part of the day. Or trying to figure it out how to fit the schedule with your personal life, your family, your kids, but at the same time knowing that you have to be on the road to do the best you can in your job. I will never say it's a tough life, but it's a different life.
You cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time, so you have another game this afternoon and you got to process all the information, recognize what you see, write it up.
It is a job that you cannot do if you don't like to travel a little bit and meet new culture, meet new people, explore, enjoy, knowing what's different than your hometown. That's the best part. But yeah, time on the road is a lot. It's good to know each other because he knows he can count on us as an international department because we know how to get to the place in the best way, and he's flexible enough to help us to organize that as best as we can. So knowing each other makes everything easier because we know everybody's need.
And on the technical side, spending time with him helps me understand, like when he recommends a player, the things that are important to him from a skill set perspective, from a mentality perspective. So, understanding what the kind of player that he likes, I can understand and see it from their lens and maybe ask him certain questions based upon that. So you get the logistical part of it, and then you also have the technical part of it where, we're always it's like almost a dance rhythm where you kind of just know the other person and what they're going to do, what they like and things like that. So it makes it really easier.
Jordy Fernandez has his first win as an NBA head coach. The Brooklyn Nets win their home opener, 115-102 against Milwaukee.
Extremely excited for him and happy for him because he's worked extremely hard to get to this point. Just to see the connection that he has around the world, whenever we bring up his name over here, the smiles that people have on their faces, the memories he's left and what he's done, it translates in so many different cultures in so many different ways. So I'm really excited for him, and it's a great accomplishment for him, first of all, but in a greater sense for our organization. I think what he's implementing and putting in place is going to really translate well for our success in the future.
I don't have like a playing background or a professional coaching background or anything. It's really an unusual path that brought me here. When the analytics movement started in the early 2000s, that part of the game didn't exist in Europe back then. And what I did was just really bringing the stuff that they were creating and applying it to European basketball. So analytics was for me a way to get a foot in the door and connect to coaches and professional people in basketball.
The way he sees the game, the way he breaks down the game, he always brings a unique stat most of us have never thought about. We call him the professor because he has a way of educating all of us in terms of different ways to go about it.
It's a very diverse landscape of basketball that factors into our evaluation and also analytically. There are attempts made to account for the different level of basketball and to adjust the numbers accordingly. So it's a huge part.
It's been really helpful, insightful, a chance to get to know him as a person, but also he's made us all better as scouts as well. Last day of the trip, so it's the time where you start thinking about family more and thinking about getting back home and thinking about the things that you kind of miss, after spending a week, so far away from home. But it's been an amazing trip for me to be able to connect in person with our international team. It's been huge. I've had some great takeaways from them that I'll be able to implement during the college season, and then all the international players that we've seen. Having a reference point to be able to compare the college players that we'll see in the next few weeks against them will be an amazing opportunity too. And we're off to a great start, and we have a good foundation to build off of and to debate and kind of really start our process.
There's no time to waste. You got to hit the live games early, meet people early, get intel early, and that sets the foundation for the rest of the year. It's not a year like any other. I mean, we have a huge opportunity, and I think that is clear to all of us.